Audi R8
Ticket.
with the ticket. And it's funny because we just saw BMW i8. Yo! What's up, guys? It's Anthony V back here for another vlog. I believe this is vlog 114, which is nothing compared to my homeboy over here, Jermaine. What vlog are you on now? Like 500 and something?
No, I'm at like, it's almost 1500. It's like 1493 or something like that. It's crazy.
We'll just get right into it. Everyone's been posting like this. When did the news come out? Was it Monday this past week? Tuesday? Alright, so big news in the e-skate world. In the past week, there was posts all over Instagram, their Facebook. It's pretty much well known. There's an insane amount of blog posts and I say even blogs about this, but Boosted has basically announced that they are done. They are no more. They thanked us all for a great run. They basically said that they laid off a majority, I think 95% of their staff, which was like roughly over 130, 140 people. And it's unfortunate. In the past 4, 5 years, 6 years I've been riding the boards, I've gotten to meet a bunch of people from all over the world that ride e-boards now, and this Boosted community has kind of helped start that. I've ridden boards with people from Chicago, New York, Miami, Sacramento, LA, San Diego, most of California, Colorado.
That's making me sad, dude.
Yeah.
This is literally, like, you said your name in these cities is making me sad. Keep going, I don't want to cut you off, but.
It was, it's bittersweet. It was a great run. Riding Boosted for 6 years, he's been riding them 4, so between us we have about a decade of Boosted boards. Knowledge, experience, fun and activities, whatever you call it. Like,
how many miles do you have on your board? How many boards do you have first off? You got
so I had
V1.
I had 4. Now I have 2. I sold another one of them not too long ago, and I sold my V1 2 years ago. I think I blocked that. But yeah, I had 4 at one point in time. That V1 now has had, I think it has over 7,000 miles if I heard correctly from the guy I sold it to.
7,000
Yeah,
miles.
I had over about 4,500 on that board when I sold it, and he put another 2,000, I believe, on it. And then between my other boards, I mean, there's another, I don't know, roughly about another 10,000 on those boards. So between 4 boards, I've gone roughly about 17,000, 18,000 miles in the past 6 years.
Wow, so I have 4 boards. All 4 of my boards are V2s, and the first one has like 4,500 miles, and then the second one has, I think, 1,800. The third have 23, and the fourth is about, I think, 25 or something. I just kind of got to the point where one would break down and I would buy another one, and then I would just buy another one, and I just love collecting them. You know, and then the more you buy, the more chargers you accumulate, the more batteries you accumulate. And when did you stop riding? Because I think that's a question that's very important too. Because I know a lot of Boosted fans, people that love Boosted, but then they've sort of stopped riding.
I personally stopped riding Boosted like religiously about a year ago. E-skate community's evolved and changed within just that year. I was one of the first, I'd say, original 20 people in Bay Area e-skate back in 2017. We had just a bunch of smaller groups, and then all those smaller groups kind of converged and got together and made a group of about 20-something people. And then that 20-something people turned into Bay Area e-skate. Then over time, we just kept word of mouth, and then it grew from 20 members to 100 to 150 to 200. And then it started just, we got cards, we had little lanyards made, we had little keychains, we had these cards that you just give out to people. Usually I'd have one to show you guys. 2017, the V2, if I'm correct, was when the V2 dropped, and it blew everyone's minds. They basically fixed some of the old problems, like the wires that are under the board, what connects the battery to the ESC. That is now through the board, so you're not standing on those wires anymore. That's one of the big things I noticed. And then they put 2 Bluetooths in it, if I'm correct. So you don't have cutouts in big cities like we used to on our V1s, which is hella sketch.
Yes.
If you don't know how to power slide or foot brake, you're in for not a good time.
You're in for a beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
Cut off, and you better hear those beeps. Otherwise, you're going to be like, what's going on?
You'll be roadkill.
Yeah, you'll find out very fast. But with the V2, they upgraded that, and it worked so much better. I really never had a V2 cut off on me unless I didn't charge the remote or I pressed the button while I was riding. Back then, the groups were more than 50% boosted.
Yep.
Did you hear that? More than 50% boosted.
Yeah,
All right,
up
now-
until at least 2017, at least half of the groups, all the groups in the United States, half of them, hands down, were boosted or evolved or something like that.
Boosted and Evolve was like the most expensive. They're like the only boards out there that you can get. I mean, there's a couple, Chinese boards you can get for like $500. But if you wanted a go-to board, you went with Boosted, you went with Evolve. Now, Boosted and Evolve, they're irrelevant, and they're like basically beginner boards.
Yeah.
And now you got like $4,000 skateboards that are like the cool Boosted board that was cool a couple of years ago. Remember back in the day, the group rides. I don't know how it was in the Bay Area because a couple of summers ago, I spent the whole summer in New York.
Yeah.
And I stayed there for like 3 months, and I hung out with the groups every day. And majority of people, like I say, everybody had Boosted. And the group rides were very different. They were very like charge and hang out and charge. It was very, very social. Nowadays, when I go to the group rides, it's not really a group ride anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
It's more like a group race.
Yep.
And it's like every single weekend, there's accidents. It's just not like it used to be.
People aren't spatially aware. You have so many newbies that
So many newbies.
haven't started on Boosted or Evolve, or even like the budget boards like True Wheel or Meepos or something like that, and go straight into buying a LaCroix or something. And that's just like,
Yeah, but
you're not spatially aware, you're going to run into people, and you're most likely going to hurt yourself too because you haven't been riding the boards that long. Back when they started their ambassador program, I was thinking, hey, it would be cool if they could follow through on some of the things that we really need, like fixing the Bluetooth issue, making the boards a little bit stronger, giving us a bigger battery and longer range, which, with the V2, a majority of those kind of got answered.
Yeah.
But they were kind of also dropped the ball. Now the problem is the Evolve boards that came out in 2017-18 have these big ass batteries that can go anywhere from 20 to 30 miles depending on how you're riding the board. Now with that being said, the Evolve boards decks are a lot stronger than Boosted's because Boosted uses a loaded deck that flexed on the V1s or V2s. Mm-hmm. As soon as everyone got their batteries on the extended range batteries on the V2s, that battery, depending on how much you weigh, is right next to the trucks. So it causes a great amount of stress at that little part of the nose where the trucks align. And a lot of people's boards in 2018 basically started snapping because of these extended battery packs. And that's also unfortunate because that means that Boosted had to figure out a way to make the battery pack stay on the board without it cracking and then also keep basically the same feel. So in the V3, which neither of us bought, V3s basically what happened was they came out with a carbon fiber or whatever deck that sounded cool that was made in China because they outsourced all their products now and they're manufacturing in China to obviously cut the cost of production and their overhead costs. Speaking into that, China. It is 2020 is March 8th?
Yeah.
March 8th or whatever of 2020. And unfortunately, Trump still has a trade war with China, affecting a lot of companies in this nation. And with that being said, Boosted basically had to say on their post or on Instagram or their massive post that they just blasted out to the community, hey, we can't afford this anymore. It's taking 25% of their income. And it's just coming from the tariffs, so it's not feasible for them to stay in business, unfortunately.
Well, actually, Boosted owed a lot of vendors money.
Yeah.
And they sort of had, you sort of have to get money from here and pay your vendors, and they're not getting enough money from here to pay their vendors. And this happens with businesses. This happens with really, really good businesses where you run out of cash. Huge rumor that Boosted would make an electric bike, which the electric bike market is so oversaturated. There's so many electric bikes. Every time I walk outside, there's a different one. So they went with a scooter, which is just as saturated market. I mean,
Nobody was asking for a scooter.
No one was asking for a scooter, but I think the whole idea where they was going with that was, the guys would get the scooter for the girlfriend could ride the scooter and they could ride the skateboard, but that doesn't really work when you can't charge them at the same time. Like, it takes longer to charge a scooter versus the skateboard.
They did not listen to their customer base. No one was asking for a scooter. What everyone was asking for was a better board with stronger trucks, bigger wheels, and insane range. Like, I'm talking 30, 35 miles, 40 on a single charge. You're talking 20 to 25 miles going up 20-degree incline hills here in San Francisco. And that's one of the biggest things that would annoy me. Out when I would talk to other people around the world or around the Eastgate community from, like, say, you know, Illinois, where I'm from, or even like places in the Midwest like Nebraska, which is really flat, like really flat. And you have these people like, oh, my board does this, my board does this. It's like, dude, you were riding your board in mode 1 and you're on flat land. Of course it goes 14 miles. For example, there's a few hills in the city, like certain parts of 17th Street, Bell, Goff. There's a few hills in this city that are just known to be decently steep. I'm talking like, I don't know, they're probably like 12 to 15 degree grades, but when you're going up them, they feel almost like this. You go up 2 of those hills between 2 blocks, you're just saying goodbye on an extended range battery to one of your bars, and that's over 2 miles of range for 2 blocks. Weighing 175 pounds, I get roughly about 4 miles in sport mode.
Yeah.
They can't believe that. It's like, dude, we have hills. This is the testing ground. Other than the Swiss Alps, this should be the testing ground for all e-board companies. If your board cannot hang it in San Francisco, then it's a piece of shit.
That's another thing I love about Boosted. They got the belts here.
Yeah.
No hubs for them.
Like, I know there's a bunch of inertian fanboys out there, Meepos, whatever. Great. Hub motors are good for flat land, not that aggressive riding. If you really want to see what your hub motors can do, bring them out to San Francisco for a year. I will demo your board for a year for you before it breaks down. I guarantee it's only going to last a month or 2. If something's really good, you're going to see a majority of the people in group rides riding it. And right now what's happening is a lot of LaCroix and a lot of DIYs, because everyone's starting to figure out how to make their own battery packs. Everyone's starting to figure out how to link them up to the ESCs. And then pretty much after that, everything else is almost easy. It's just it's basically all hardware. You have the board, you have the trucks, the bearings, washers, you have to figure out which bolts you want. But other than that, people are getting into the DIY so well that some of the Evo decks I see out now, I mean, a majority of them are riding 30 miles on a charge, and a lot of them are going up to at least 30, 35 miles an hour.
Which is insane.
The production board to a point other than LaCroix and the Cali NYCs are basically doing that right now. Those are now the new kings of the road. LaCroix, Cali NYC. Metro board is also in the runnings because they've been doing this for years. Like, their old board didn't even have belts. It had a chain drive on it.
Oh, it had a chain drive on a freaking Metro board.
For example, bigger wheels, we were asking for that for at least 4 years. Back in 2016. They finally came out with the wheels this year. Same with the lights. We were asking for lights 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I was even wondering what this extra port was underneath the front of the battery. I was like, what's that thing? And they're like, oh, something's coming.
I'm so sorry. They waited so long.
The founders of this company were 3 guys from MIT that basically got tired of walking between college campus classes. Like, we need a quicker way and something that we can take inside. So they built their first e-board. That was back in like 2009 or some shit. Maybe it's 2007, maybe even a little bit before. But if I remember the story correctly, the first board was nuts. It went like almost 30 miles an hour. They had no brakes on the thing. They're pretty much almost dying on their way to classes, but still, it did the job. Then what happened was, once the board actually debuted, they started having a bunch of beta testers. Back in around 2012, I remember I ran into one of them. It was nuts. Like, I remember seeing a board moving without a wire. I was like, what's going on there? And let me try it. I busted my ass, of course, because I had no idea what was going on. And then I was addicted. I was like, I can't wait for this to come out. And then finally, around the beginning of 2014, I started seeing a few people on these boards. I'm talking like 2, maybe 3 people in San Francisco. Maybe 3.
So weird.
I may have became like number 4 or number 5. I could go to Boosted's site on Facebook and type in the comment section like, hey, there's something wrong with my motor. Literally, I could see someone almost typing back to me before I got that message finished. It was nuts. They would respond within minutes. I'm talking 5 minutes or less. Hey, what's wrong with your board? Blah, 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 blah. Send us a video, we'll diagnose it, send it in. Then it got to the point where in 2017 and 16, they started growing so much that the customer service team was like, hey, if you know how to fix these things, we'll just send you the stuff and you can fix it yourself. It just cut down so much stuff for them.
That's when I think that things started to change for V2. Right around the V2, right after before the battery problem.
But right after the battery problem, then it seemed like everything started to just kind of, because then they got inundated by a bunch of people that were unhappy. You have to send back batteries, then they have to give them new ones.
Oh my gosh.
So they lost money on that.
That must have been very expensive to have all those batteries.
They lost money on that, the recalls, and then after that, you just had the customer service started to really slip from 2017 to 2018. Like, I noticed it drastically. Like, it turned into, hey, can't talk to someone for a day, can't talk to someone for a week. Now you're not hearing from someone for 2 weeks. Now you email them, call them, oh, you email them again, now you're getting bumped back into the queue again because you sent another email. It was just a total clusterfuck of communication and what happened to their service team. Also, if I'm correct, this was roughly around when 2 of the co-founders sold out and then they got a new CEO. Bad choice.
Oh my gosh! But for a couple of years, they've had that office has just been, it's been like a roulette table, like just people coming and going. It's almost like, it kind of reminds me of GoPro almost.
Yeah.
You know, they made a really good product and just, well, I don't know. I'm not going to compare Boosted to GoPro because GoPro had its own.
It has its own things, but
it had its own
I mean, unfortunately, we would hate to make this video, but I guess we need to make it. And it's one of those things like we never thought we'd say this, but yeah, Boosted may be going under. It's one of those things that we thought they'd be around. I guess this was it, guys.
Yeah.
Hit like, comment, subscribe, whatever.
Boost
you can check out Jermaine's vlog, and I will put his link in the comments, and I will also put his link in the description up here in like one of these boxes.
I'll put one of his.
And then one of mine will be in his somewhere.
Here.